Day 2 of the PE trip was 468 kilometers, a real zigzag from the farm Bonnydale to the Headley campsite at the bottom of the Antoniusberg Pass, right next to the Groot River. The route included a detour around Frimersheim on towards George, where I had to get a rear tube. From George, I will go north via the Montague Pass over the Outeniqua Mountains. Another detour via Düsseldorp and then due east towards Uniondale and stay as close as possible to the mountain range. It was just after 7 when I was fully packed, said my goodbyes. But I first had to close the gate. The road meandered through the Reiterbos forest, another ruin that might have some very interesting history. As I was getting closer to George, I was also getting closer to the mountain and more activity. Just past the little setting of Reiterbos, I turned right again and we're back on gravel. This area of the country is blessed with a fair amount of rain per year, and one can see that it gets more intense farming, lots of guest houses and other activities. Woo! Let the wolf howl to the moon. At Reiterbos there was a short star stint, and I decided I want to go around. And what a beautiful little gravel road through the forest, through the farms. It was so nice to stay away from the tar. And the beautiful noise of the birds in the trees, where I had some coffee. I finally got hold of a tube, so a bit of a meander through the little town, and I'm on my way again. Just outside George, I turned right onto the old Montague Pass. This was the original pass between Montague and the Karoo, and now it's just a scenic road. And if I say scenic, this is very scenic. I probably took more video on this 20-odd kilometer section, and there the road will go up the top and down in the valley. The railway bridge at Stinko Dry is one of the most photographed areas. And then I realized there's a railway line below, and just ahead a tunnel. Unfortunately, I couldn't go down there because it was way too steep. I finally reached the plateau on the other side of the Outeniqua Mountains before again I turned right and a few hundred meters left again to be back on gravel. The old people didn't bother. If they want a road, they'll build a road. Fortunately, there were lots and lots of rocks available. At this point I was basically going due north on my way to Düsseldorp, not realizing that the clouds ahead is not for rain, it's for a very hot day ahead. I'm now aiming for those mountains ahead. Just before I will turn right, basically southeast, back down towards Uniondale. Again, the old people didn't waste time. They made beautiful entrances to their farms as well. A short stint of tar through little town of Düsseldorp. I'm now heading southeast, basically back towards the sea, and past some very interesting farms where they cultivate onions for seed. and another dilapidated windmill. And more seed farming, and even more seed farming. Unfortunately, I couldn't see any farmers to go and find out a bit more about the cultivation of the onions for seed production. And then it was hot. 12:35, 39 degrees. Basically, it was like that for quite a few hours before already. I just never had thought of taking a picture. I then entered Uniondale, where I stopped to refuel and get something to eat. A short stint on tar before I turned right into the Baviaanskloof area. This is now real Karoo again. The temperature is still hovering around the 39-40 degree. (2:38) and is now 39.5 degrees Celsius. Slippery when wet. I had to stop, because in this area, if it rains, it comes down in buckets. And then saw some other bikers. I can guarantee you they will turn into the Baviaans. Just to confirm about the rains, if you look at these ruts and erosion, it's massive. I'll keep you posted. It's now 1600 hours and 40 degrees. I'm now as close as the mountains I can get. Just ahead, here, I will turn right on the road with many gates. As the road was getting a bit more treacherous with all the loose rocks, I couldn't handle and ride one hand. So I mounted the camera on the helmet and went on my merry way. Fortunately, the camera was mounted, so I could just look at the little duiker running across the road. But I had to stop, because I think at this stage it was about 41 to 42 degrees. I was fairly well dehydrated, although I drank a lot of water. And also stopping and getting off and on for the gates. Back to a more passable road, took the camera off and went for the handheld. And I was quick enough to catch this little guy. I was now basically just south of state level, right next to the Baviaans Mountains. I had a friend that stayed here, and I said to myself, although it's been 30 years ago, I might recognize the area and see if they're still alive. I found my friend's house, stopped over for a few glasses of water and said my goodbyes. As you can see at this stage, it looks like it's overcast, but we're still in the 41-42 degree range. A quick stop at the farm owners, or rather the owners of the Headley campsite. A quick chat, a few glasses of water, and I had to go, because at this point the heat was still unbearable. At some point there were a massive veld fire in the area, and the damage is actually devastating. The animals and everything around is now now get fed by the farmers. And there's a few kudu going over the road. Oh, and my lonely palm tree. And more kudu running across. Unfortunately, they're very skittish and you will never find them even if you try and stop. At last, Grootrivierpoort, just a few kilometers ahead, and I can take a well-deserved break. This road is the northern side of the mountain pass, of the Groot River mountain pass. There's actually quite a few interesting issues at hand here because it's the Grootrivier Pass and also the Antoniusberg Pass, but it's actually the Grootrivier River that's running down there. I am so tired. I will just camp here, but oh, I can't drink this water. I drove a bit further, bit back, but couldn't find any fresh water, and then decided to search for the actual campsite. After I found the campsite, I was actually as disappointed because it's all locked up, and because I didn't book, there was no services, no water, no nothing.